Okay, guys, what we're talking about today is presidents and Zohan Mamdani is going at it. Got some major issues going on. Let's find out what's happened. This is a couple days, not a couple days, but a day ago. I didn't really get to react to this yet, but I'm reacting to this to catch us up. What's your opinion? What's happening? Let's look at this hot topic.
Time for the hot topic of the hour. It is now day 37 of this government shutdown. President Trump again urging the Senate to end with the ending of the filibuster to get things going. But Senate Majority Leader John Thune says it is not happening. The breaking news this morning is the FAA is now being forced to reduce air traffic levels at 40 key airports beginning tomorrow morning if no deal is reached. Democrats, meanwhile, are riding high after the blue sweep in Tuesday night's elections. But the Trump administration is responding with the fight has just begun. New York City Mayor-elect Zohan Mamdani meeting with Big Apple executives, business executives, as employers and residents are worried about his effect on the economy and obtaining federal money. The president discussing all of this with Brett Baer on Special Report last night. Watch.
I thought that New Jersey would do better. I didn't think that Virginia was going to do very well. I didn't think the candidate, didn't really have my support. The Cuomo situation, it's just he had too many things against him. I'm so torn because I would like to see the new mayor do well because I love New York. For 1,000 years, communism has not worked. Communism or the concept of communism has not worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time.
At one point he says, turn the volume up.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
How do you respond to that?
A very dangerous statement for him to make, actually. He has to be a little bit respectful of Washington because if he's not, he doesn't have a chance of succeeding. And I want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed.
Did you see reaching out to him?
I would say he should reach out to us.
Is there a deal that can be made to end this government shutdown in your mind?
Well, I think the Democrats have become radicalized. I think, this never happened before. They always extend. An extension is very easy. It's done all the time. You extend, sometimes you extend 4 or 5 times. I mean, they become radicalized lunatics, actually, in a true sense. They should automatically extend, and we will make a deal as soon as they do. As soon as they do, we'll make a deal.
Well, we are now watching the impact on the economy, and I want to get your take on this, Mark, because once you've got air traffic cutting capacity and flight stopping, this really gets to what I've been worried about these last couple of days, and that is a serious impact on the economy. What do you think?
Without a doubt, but it's also going to affect just family relationships. I mean, we're like 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving travel starting to pick up, and the government is still shut down. We lack air traffic controllers. And Maria, last Thursday, after I wrapped up this show, it took me 14 hours to get home.
Wow.
Back to Cleveland.
14 hours.
Went to the airport, sat on the plane for 4 hours. They deplaned us. I walked down to Hertz, rented a car, drove home. My back is still in pain today from making that drive last week. And you can't be an effective business owner or sales representative or whatever it may be if you can't get to where you need to be.
These are the kinds of stories that will trigger others to cancel their plans, cancel travel, and again, impact the GDP, broadly speaking. But Chris, I mean, have you ever seen anything like this? And we've never seen a shutdown this long.
Yeah, just historically, we've never seen one this long. And with the flights, it's finally going to maybe impact some people who have been looking at the shutdown and thinking, well, the government doesn't really affect my life. This isn't that big of a deal. The sob stories from Democrats are largely focused on early retirees not getting a subsidy for their health care. For folks like me, it's like, why should I care? Keep the government shut down. Now you might start thinking a little bit differently if you're thinking about, like me, traveling with my 2-year-old.
I could just want to say this. He's speaking on truth that all three of these on the panelists on this media, the anchor and the media, the hosts are talking about what's really going on. Like, people don't realize how 40% of 40 cities, 40 states, numerous cities, flights that's going to be canceled. 40% is going to be canceled. That means there's a lot of, it's going to affect the food supply, the like UPS, all these United States Postal Service, United Postal Services, all these other organizations, like this guy talking about businesses all over the country. A lot of things that's operating in different. They use the airport planes to send packages, and a lot of these delivery services that send packages across the nation are not going to be able to get it there on time. Not going to be able to meet deadlines, and so there's going to be a lot of tumultuous situation that's going to occur due to this reduction in flights. Uh, you already look at Dollar Trees across America; they're looking more emptier. You look at the different small businesses that rely on shipping and other supplies that come in, rail, train. It's going to affect many different pathways to get stuff from move around the infrastructure of the United States. So if we continue, we're in historical times with the shutdown. We're now have reached the number one status of American shutdowns, federal government shutdowns. We're in historical a moment. This is we 37 days, guys. Never ever happened in the history of the United States of America. You got to really take that in consideration. But what is your thought? Leave a comment, subscribe down below. Let's continue watching uh, further on, see what's going on.
Back to Ohio to visit grandma and grandpa, and you're thinking about how much chaos that might create. It might make some people a little bit more concerned about the shutdown than they probably were before.
You're right. Look, we got to talk about the SCOTUS hearing yesterday. The president's legal team defending his use of emergency tariff powers yesterday in an historic Supreme Court hearing. The president did not attend, but Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer were in the room. Greer will join us shortly. Bessent posted this to X. President Trump has issued the IEPA authority to address the fentanyl crisis, bring U.S. back from the edge of trade policy, secure rare earths from China, and curtailed purchases of Russian oil, all urgent national security issues. Greer said this, quote, "For decades, America's global competitiveness was eroding under the weight of one-sided trading relationships. The president acted with urgency to address this national economic emergency." All the details are coming up this morning when I speak with U.S. Trade Rep Jamieson Greer here at 8 a.m. So do join us. Here's what the president told Brett last night.
Okay, guys, another moment is this. What's happening now, man? You got to realize, like the trades and all the nations that was taking advantage of America, and a lot of people were sitting back thinking America was like some kind of major like figure. We are a major figure, but we are the premier world nation, and so we cannot take that out of consideration. But there's other nations, and every nation wants to rise up to its highest potential. They want to be a bright star in the celestial body. Every nation would love to be that. So that's not what the president's doing. Is like now is making you guys stand on your stardom, stand on your national star, and represent your nation and take accountability for your nation. And that's what he's doing now with all these deals he's making, with all these tariffs. He's pulling you into the forefront where you like to be treated like you're in the forefront, but you don't want to take the responsibilities. Our president, this administration, the American president today and his administration is saying no. You're gonna come out the shadows into the light, and you're gonna stand on your benefits instead of going to run to the media like we noticed in the last year. They run to the media saying one thing and then go. Canada's a perfect example of that. Say one thing with the administration and then get in the media and say a total opposite thing, or try to manipulate the media and to their perspective, and also have a deal on the other table with another nation to nation negotiations, and that's not fair. And so this is what I think this administration, this president is doing of the United States, President Trump, is pulling everybody into the light and making them stand on what they got to give to the United Nations, to the global system. You're not just gonna get the benefits. You're gonna have to put your hard work in too. You got to put your elbow grease, your economic elbow grease in with the United States, because the United States is holding up a lot of this net world system. So you guys got to hold up your part too, and that's just fair. and everyone agreed it was fair. But look how many nations said they agreed, but never came and signed documents, never fulfilled their part. But now, since the system is getting hard and these tariffs are hitting hard, they have to come. And see, they would say one thing in the public's eye, in the media's eye, but then they'll fall back and go on and then try to do shady stuff in the background. And then the president will look, the United States president will look bad when he stands on what he said and make you stand on what you said. Now he looks like a bully. But as time has continued to move forward, we're starting to see that that's not the case. We're starting to see all the trickeries of other nations and the things they say one thing and they do another. And now they're getting pushed by this administration to come forth. We're seeing what's happening with Russian oil. We're seeing what happened in Australia. We're seeing with Ukraine. We're seeing in the Southeast Asian countries. We're seeing what's happened with China. All this, Germany, all these countries around the world, Canada, England. We're seeing what's happening in real time, and now you got to reevaluate your thought of this president, not necessarily, but on a global scale. He's doing a big thing for the American people because now that we look at what's happening, we can see that we thought we were up here, but we were actually about right here going down. And now this president he decided, I don't know if I could be this type of man. He decided to take all of this pressure and exposure to expose what we didn't see as the American people. And now we must admit. And now we're seeing the media turn slowly and also shedding a light on. We're seeing how much control whatever this global system had, and now it's being exposed. And now the media is exposing little by little more, and we're getting a better look into what's really happening in the United States and the position of the United States. So this is interesting. Let's continue on watching.
Hi.
It would be devastating for our country if we lost that. Devastating. I think it's one of the most important, maybe the most, but one of the most important cases in the history of our country. I think taking tariffs away so that we can have national security. So, as an example, President Xi, he hit us with the rare earths, and I hit him with a tariff, 100% tariff on top of all the other tariffs that you're paying. And they called in 10 minutes and we made a deal.
You're saying you're happy with what you came out of it?
If I didn't have tariffs, we would right now, the entire world would be in a depression. Because, that wasn't a threat against us. That was a threat against the entire world. I did this for the world.
Mark, one of the issues here, I think, for markets is the fact that already this administration has collected almost $200 billion in tariff revenue. The U.S. is going to have to pay that money back if this really goes against them.
Yes. And, obviously that helps to close the deficit somewhat. And that's really helped to propel stocks higher.
Right.
But,
it's funny, first everybody was upset about tariffs.
Yeah.
There was all that craziness and, hysteria. And now they realize they need that money for the deficit and debt.
And then you realize that the inflation that was supposed to happen in response to tariffs really never happened. I mean, there was a slight one-time price adjustment upward, but that's it. Now, what I'll tell you is that my take on this whole Supreme Court deal is that they're not trying to figure out if Trump can impose tariffs, but how he can impose tariffs. And I said this on this show months and months and months ago. I believe that President Trump and his administration came into Liberation Day with a backup plan already in place. Section 122 will immediately allow them to impose 15% tariffs on every single country for 150 days, and then Congress can vote to continue it. Beyond that, Section 338 will allow him to impose up to 50% tariffs on countries that discriminate against us.
Right.
Currency manipulation, all those kind of things. So 12 months from today, we're going to be exactly where we are right now.
And on top of that, he's also got Section 301 that he can use for unfair trade practices. Yep. So one of the things that other countries use is having incredibly low environmental standards that they use as an inherent subsidy because we're cleaner, we do it better, we can impose those kinds of tariffs. So he's got plenty of tools at his disposal.
There's also Section 112. Did you mention 112?
Nope, nope.
So there's 112, which is a balance of payments authority 1974 law that allows the president to impose an additional 15% tariff on imports for 150 days. So, yes, he has backup plans, and I don't think tariffs are going anywhere,
right.
But it still will be a negative when it first comes out, if in fact that's where this is going. We'll see. We don't know how the justices are going to
exactly.
So, guys, these tariffs are not going. We just heard 150, 150 days. That's a year, basically approximately a year, like 400, yeah, 150, 150, 300, 150, or 450 days. That's a little over a year. He can push these tariffs. With so well, we already have an agenda. They just laid it out for us in the media. So I think this is going to be a great thing. I think it's going to shift a lot of things. I think it's going to be a lot of support, and then we can see a lot of this. If it does go sideways for the president administration, he still had to. He has a way to hold on, and he hasn't used these 150 days yet. So that's at his disposal. So it's amazing to see what's going to happen right now and what's going to continue to move forward. But what do you guys think? You hear what he said? If we wouldn't have, if the tariffs wouldn't have kicked in, it would have been a world depression. And we saw it on the horizon. We saw the countries complaining, Canada, Mexico, right on in the northern, the north, the U.S. The northern continent. We saw this happening, and if you travel, I travel a lot. You saw places in the world that were things where prices were changing, and businesses was talking about they seen some turn downs and stuff. So economic turn downs. So there was a lot of things that was at play that people wasn't really talking about, and the media wasn't really covering at large. So with this administration, we've seen a lot. I hope things will continue to move forward and work. There always going to be a downplay, like the whole said was the media anchor lady was saying that they were saying the tariff's going to cause this and cause this, but it hasn't. It had a short term uh, instability, but it stabilized immediately. So what people were saying, and now we're seeing the different. Now we're seeing the benefits of the tariffs and how they're working for us. But that's neither here nor there. But now we saw the shift. What is your opinion? Leave a comment, subscribe down below. Let me know what you think. I would like to hear from you. And have a wonderful day. On to the next. This is amazing.